All right, so here we are. Just focus on me for now. All right, how you doing? This is vesselnews.io. My name is Arthur Schaper. I am here, exclusive interview with Omar Navarro, who is running for Congress against Maxine Waters, aka the Crazy Black Lady, aka the Swamp Thing, Creature from the Black Lagoon. There's a lot of names I could come up with in less than 5 minutes. I got a new hat today. No sweat stains, but I'm sure it'll get dirty just as fast as I got the other one working. So Omar Navarro, you got to see this guy. He ran against Maxine Waters last year. Since then, he has built up an incredible social media platform. He's being followed by at least 50,000 people on Twitter. He's been on InfoWars numerous times. Okay, Alex Jones has had him on the program. There is a growing grassroots coalition behind Omar Navarro. He actually lives in the district. Unlike Maxine Waters, who lives in some ritzy mansion off in Hancock Park. This is a real exciting exclusive. He's a good friend of mine. He works with me on the same board, the Beach Cities Republicans. We are making the South Bay great again. We're working on making Congress great again. We want to make sure that Omar Navarro takes over. So everybody hearing me good? How many viewers we got right now? Jennifer's helping us out. How many viewers we got right now?
47.
Awesome. So why don't we get this thing rolling? Come on over, Omar. All right, so here he is. Glad you made it.
Thank you.
Excellent.
Thank you for interviewing me today, Arthur.
I'm glad I could do this.
Yeah, this is great.
Josh, a big fan of yours. He loved what we were able to pull off.
Yeah.
We were able to pull off what was happening.
Yeah.
So, and Jennifer's doing a great job. She's going to help me with any tech issues. So I know you're a pro at this, so
yeah.
I'm really glad that we could get this together, even though there was a short amount of time. Everybody wants to talk to you. Everybody wants to know about you because you're taking on the Swamp Thing, Crazy Black Lady, Maxine Waters. So tell us really quickly, why do you want to run for Congress? Let's start with that.
Well, I started years ago. I got involved in politics, as you know, Arthur. I've been involved for a very long time. I was helping out political candidates from congressional races to mayoral elections to city council races. And I realized that when I was involved, I saw a lot of these people didn't really have a backbone to them. They would promise all these things, but they would never deliver on those promises. And I got so tired of it, and I said to myself, I want true leaders that are actually going to go through with things. Mm-hmm. So when I saw the presidential race and I saw Trump running, I said to myself, I want to be part of this race. I want to be a part of history, and I want to actually run for Congress, and I'm going to run against Maxine Waters.
Got it.
And I was very proud to have run last time, and I was unsuccessful, but I still worked really hard, and I did a lot of things. I ended up campaigning more for the presidential race and helping out Trump more because I saw it as more importance in our country to get rid of Hillary Clinton and make sure that we're electing the right person in office. So I devoted all my time, and I set aside, even though during the race, I set aside to help out Trump. I said to myself, if nothing happens this time around, I'll work 10 times harder the next time around for myself.
Okay.
But this time I want to see the president get in, and I want to see Trump become the president.
So you as a candidate, even last year in California, Deep Blue, where the Republican Party was kind of adverse or distant towards Trump, you had no problem running as a proud Trump supporter? Is this true?
I was very proud to be a Trump supporter. I supported Trump from a very young age. I read his books. Mm-hmm. So to me, Trump was nothing new to me. He was the same guy he's always been. And I saw the media trying to twist his words and try to change who he is as a person when he's always been that way from day one. And I like that he's a true person. He speaks to people with common sense. He doesn't articulate things in such a way that turn people off.
Okay.
He's common words. He uses common words. He doesn't use all these big words, and that's what turns me on to him as a president.
So tell me your background. Tell us about your ethnic background because people go for it.
Well, my family came from Mexico, from one side from Mexico. The other side came from Cuba, from Havana.
Oh, wow.
My mom's from Torreon, from northern Mexico.
Okay, so your father was he a refugee from Cuba?
No.
Okay.
My father came here when he was 9 years old. He came here by plane. My grandmother is 95 years of age.
Wow.
So she came here a long time ago. And with my uncle. My uncle lived in Spain for a long time before he came to the United States.
Okay.
Because he was living there and then got his paperwork here. So.
Oh, wow.
So it's all they all came here through a legal process. They didn't come here through the legal process or anything. They flew here and everything. It was a different time too. It was a different time. They weren't actually refugees.
So you are a Latino for Trump. What kind of a problem do you face as a congressional candidate being a Latino a hardcore Trump supporter and an outspoken Republican in the state of California?
Well, you know, I get a lot of attacks online from people, but that's something that comes along with the territory. I mean, if you can't even take an attack, I mean, what kind of person are you?
Right.
So it's politics. Politics is politics. But at the end of the day, you have to stay true to who you are.
Okay.
You got to stay true to what you want to accomplish. And I supported Trump. I'm going to continue to support Trump.
Wow.
Whether people like it or not, I'm going to support the president. We have one side that says impeach 45. I say support 45.
Mm-hmm. And who's the one saying impeach 45 anyway?
Maxine Waters.
Absolutely. Yeah. And to me, it's just incredible. So what is it? Okay,
yeah.
So what's really important, I think, especially, so Maxine Waters is now pushing this whole impeach 45, impeach 45. What's your thoughts on that, considering the latest revelations we've gotten out of the U.S. Senate, intelligence committees, the armed forces committees, the reports that we've seen? What's your take on that?
Well, the whole Russian thing is all a hoax. You know, you already saw on TV, they talked about how it was a hoax and how they're making it up and they're trying to get publicity. They have no stories. I mean, look at all these networks on TV. They're dying off. These people are looking at alternative resources for information. They're going online and they're basing their own opinion on, they're creating more facts. They're like saying, well, this doesn't make any sense. They're just telling me to believe this, but do I really want to believe this?
Absolutely.
I'm not going to believe what I just see on TV. I'm going to believe whatever I do research on myself.
Yeah.
Why am I going to base it on an opinion? The best source of news is actually look at congressional hearings, paying attention to what they're saying and what they're going through. And even if you don't understand something, then you can look online and go on Open Secrets.
Then I have to ask myself, then why is it then, why do you think Maxine Waters is so committed to continuing this narrative, impeach 45, when in the face of such glaring evidence that's come forward that there's no Russia-Trump collusion, that there's no corruption that was on the part of the president when he was a candidate? Why do you think she keeps pushing this?
She keeps pushing it because Maxine Waters is trying to divert the American public away from the real issues in our district. I mean, you have a lot of homeless in our district. You have a lot of poverty. You have a lot of people who can't even find jobs. You have businesses that are leaving and fleeing to Texas. Why is that happening? Well, Maxine Waters is not concerned about the issues in our district. She's concerned about impeaching the president. She's concerned about changing the whole narrative and kind of engaging people in a different way.
Okay.
But she's trying to get people she's diverting them. She's diverting them from the actual issues in her own district. She knows that she's not going to hold on to that seat easily next time around.
Okay.
But if she diverts them to other issues that don't matter, that are not, they're not even proven, they're not even facts.
Well, here's the thing I have to ask you, because there was a hardcore Democratic operative, if you will, who had shown up and he says, I predict that Maxine Waters is going to carry her district by 70%. What makes you think that it's going to be different next year?
Of course. Let's go backward a little bit and rewind from when I first started. When I first ran, I spent $3,000 on my race.
Okay.
Very little money, and I want to disclose that to people. People can look it up on opensecrets.org and pull it up and look up all the information. I ran a small campaign. I didn't have a lot of money. Maxine Waters spent $650,000 against me.
Look, 2016, she spent $650,000?
Yes, $650,000 against me.
Okay, just against a startup candidate, essentially?
Exactly. And
really?
I still received nearly 25% of the vote. Nearly 25% of the vote.
You got.
So that means I had to cross over voters in that district, also get Democrats, I had to get independents to vote for me. So considering the amount of money I spent, I did very well. But what people are not noticing is that this time around, I've raised much more. In the past 5 months, I've raised about $30,000 in the campaign.
Wow.
So now we're talking now. But I have a bigger movement now. I have a lot of volunteers. I have a lot of people that are helping me this time around. I mean, I've been putting all of myself into this, and I know many people that are watching know that I have been, because I go on InfoWars. Rush Limbaugh mentioned me on his show.
Oh, no kidding. Wow.
Alan West tweeted something about me. I saw that. A lot of major people have been sharing my stuff. Ben Shapiro shares my stuff too. So I mean, it's amazing to see the amount of support that I've been receiving from so many people, and the names are limitless to the amount of people that are going out there. And I'm going on InfoWars tomorrow at noon, and that's going to be interesting.
It's good to plug that. Let me ask you this: what's been the catalyst that has taken you from a nobody candidate that had $3,000 to somebody that has such an incredible social media profile? How did that happen?
I want to give big credit to InfoWars. Okay. For all of it, because InfoWars really they gave me a platform. They gave me an opportunity to get my name out there, to get my voice out there, to really get the information out there about what's really happening in the district. They wanted to see what is someone that actually lives in a district, what do they think about the district? Because I actually lived there. I was born in Englewood. I lived a portion of my life in Hawthorne. I went to school there. I went to York Elementary.
Oh, really?
I went to Prevista Middle School there, and then I went to West High School in Torrance. So I moved around in the district, but I lived in the district my entire life. And so I know about the issues because I've experienced them from first-hand. I mean, when you look at something and you live there, you know what's going on. But if you don't know what's going on, then you're kind of disconnected from the people that live there. So you have to know.
Okay. Now, normally, one question that would come to mind is what are the top 3 issues? But let me take one issue I think that you resonate with Trump a great deal, and it's immigration. How would you say illegal immigration is impacting the 43rd Congressional District? Before you answer that, by the way, just remind the audience which cities are located in the 43rd Congressional District.
So in the 43rd Congressional District, you have the city of Alameda, which is not too far from here from Torrance.
Okay.
Torrance is split in half. I don't know how that happened, but it got split in half. You have all of Gardena, all of Hawthorne, Englewood, Southeast Los Angeles. You have Del Air, a little strip of Del Air right next to close to Hawthorne.
Okay. Got it.
So you have, and you also have Lawndale. Lawndale's a little small city. It's right next to the district. You have a portion of, I think there's a little portion close to Harbor City. It's not really in Harbor City, but there's a portion right there.
Okay.
And West Carson area also.
Good. And there's something else that comes to mind too, like in the upper western section, because it seems to be a district that starts to sprawl that way. Those regions too. Westchester?
Westchester's also, yeah.
Okay.
Westchester.
And the airport, I believe, is part of the district?
Yeah.
So that's a big issue right there. So, so now immigration. So we're treating that as a top issue. You've mentioned it before. How is illegal immigration impacting, or even just immigration, how is it impacting the 43rd Congressional District?
Illegal immigration is a major issue here in the district and in the state of California. We know that a lot of people are voting illegally here. You have to clean up the voter rolls. So what we're working right now, we're working with an organization that's working towards cleaning the voter rolls here in the 43rd Congressional District.
Well, good.
So they're giving us information about how many people are dead in at homes. So we're going to try to identify which people are dead, and so we can get them off the voter rolls.
Okay.
We're going to identify people that are registered in multiple addresses. And I don't know if you knew, there are
what?
also, yes, we have to identify that.
Okay.
We also have to identify the people that are, there's a lot of identifications that we have to also look at, but they also look at different little details, like let's say someone registers with a different last name and they got married and they changed their last name. Well, they're still registered under 2. They're registered under 2.
So they could technically get 2 ballots?
Yeah, basically.
Oh, wow.
So we also have to crack down on that, making sure that people are not voting twice.
Is that taking money from your campaign, though, to clean up the voter rolls?
That's taking money from the campaign to clean up the voter rolls. And, I mean, that's one of the things that, I encourage people to donate.
Talk about that right now. How can they donate to your campaign?
They can donate to my campaign at omarnavarro.com. They can go to my website and donate on there, omarnavarro.com/donate, OMARNAVARRO.com. They can go on there and donate, and the links are on there. They can also click on it and go straight to the website. And make sure you guys donate, because this money is being used to clean up California, not just to clean up the 43rd Congressional District. We have to clean up the state of California. How are we going to fix anything in this state if we're not cleaning up our voter rolls?
Absolutely.
That is the first thing. So the most essential thing that we're doing now.
I just wanted to give you a chance to do that. We'll give you another chance again. Back to illegal immigration. How is it hurting the district?
Well, of course. So again, you
talked about the voter rolls.
So you have illegals who can obtain Social Securities illegally. They can also go in and vote as people that have passed away. So they can go in there and say, hey, I'm in this person. Even though that person's been deceased for a long time, they can say they're that person, and they can still go and vote. That's the whole point of cleaning up the voter rolls. Because if we do that, then we're able to bring election integrity. That's what I believe. If we bring integrity to the election, we can win the election.
So you talk about voter fraud. Tell me about the economy. How is illegal immigration affecting the economy of the district?
Let me give you an example. I go around like cities in Englewood and Hawthorne, and I see like people have these businesses outside of businesses, and they're like, they don't have city permits. They're just like little taco stands that are right there. And what does that do when you don't have a permit? and you don't have licensing and all, you don't pay all these fees, and the food's not even inspected, so they can eat food that possibly can be poisonous.
Right.
So I mean, and also that they're charging the food at a very low price. So let's say there's actual restaurant that has tacos and everything, good Mexican restaurant, actually went through the process and paid all the licensing, all the fees and everything that costs through going through a city and everything.
Okay.
Well, it's going to put that business out of business. These
Okay.
people are just going to go think that they can just go around it and not do it the right way. We have to do things the right way. We can't go around the process and do things illegally.
Sure.
And that's what they're doing. I mean, they're breaking the law. And not only that, we don't know if the people that are there, are they legal citizens or are they illegal citizens? We also have to define that too. Because
Okay.
we're not sure if they're just people, regular citizens that are doing that illegally without permits. But
Okay.
what if they're illegals?
How does would you say that there's a lot of illegals being hired in the district?
You know, I believe that. I believe so. Because
Okay.
I talked about how, a while back ago, how a lot of, let's say a lot of wealthier communities, they hire illegals to clean up their homes, to clean their lawns and everything, and they pay them very low wages. And in a sense, they don't treat them with respect. They treat them like slaves. So that's also a problem. People need to look at also illegal immigration as a problem that can also be considered as slavery. Because people can hire these people and then they'll say, "Well, I'll report. I'm going to call ICE if you don't comply with what I'm saying to you right now."
Okay.
So I mean, they can also be treated the wrong way. So people need to come to this country and do things the right way. If they're
Okay.
doing it the wrong way, they're going to get treated wrong.
Yeah.
They're going to be treated as slaves.
So
and
let's talk. You were talking about examples. Have you talked to residents in the district? Have they shared with you concerns about immigration?
yes, they have.
Okay, tell me
you
one.
know,
Tell me
I
one thing.
had a young kid from Inglewood.
Okay.
I'm getting a lot of young people, which I'm very happy about. A lot of young people are waking up, and they're realizing that this whole agenda that liberals have sold them for so many years is no longer the case. And I'm very happy about that. And you know, young Latino guy, he told me, like, basically, I'm tired of seeing my community fall apart. I'm tired of seeing gangbangers all over the place. I'm tired of seeing trash all over the place. I'm tired of businesses leaving. I'm tired of not being able to have a job. I apply at every job and I try to get a job and I want to work and I want to do something. So that's why he's working very hard for my campaign. And he's doing whatever he can. And he
this
has
guy,
a strong work ethic.
and you're saying that he's finding a lot of doors are closed because illegals have taken the jobs?
Yeah, and you know, he said his family did things the right way. They didn't break the law. They came here through a process. They took years to come here. Like my family, you know, they took years to come here to this country, my grandparents. And they obtained citizenship, and they took a while.
Yeah.
My grandmother and my grandfather from my mother's side, they were apart from each other for 4 years.
Wow. Oh, so when people play you're separating families card.
I'm sorry. My family was separated, and they just knew that's the thing they had to do.
I hope you don't mind my emphasizing this. This is really important for the audience worldwide to understand. Okay, you've got people in California of all backgrounds, of Hispanic, Asian, African American. They are just as furious about illegal immigration. This isn't a race issue anymore. And based on what you even just told me, it's no longer a partisan issue. It's an American issue. And you're making the case about how it hurts everybody.
Well,
you know, legal citizens, legal residents, they're all harmed by this now. And isn't it true that's one of the biggest reasons you supported Trump?
It saddens me because when Trump when he initially came out and he walked down those stairs, he had his announcement. He said that we're getting killed by other countries like China. You know, they're murdering our economy. They're taking jobs. They're taking they're cutting our wages too, also on workers. But if you look at a lot of the employees,
and I just want to make sure to go to his website.
OmarNavarro.com.
And your video is on that website, correct?
Yes.
So you're seeing this live here on Vessel News. You can also see it on his Facebook page, Press GOP, and on his personal page too. He's got a large audience, and it's getting bigger by the day. Want to make sure that everybody's seeing it from all angles.
Yeah,
Keep going,
I'm
my
very
man.
happy. So, I'm very proud to be here today. I'm very proud that you're interviewing me. I'm very happy to get my message out there.
So let me
and
stop
I'm very
from
humble
there.
too. A lot of people are supporting me.
Absolutely, and I want to just to show the breadth of knowledge you have about the district. We took immigration off because I find that a lot of candidates, especially conservatives, are hardcore. They're in line with Trump on this issue. So let me give you some. Let me play devil's advocate. I want to see how you handle it. So one of the first things people complain about is they'll say, well, I was 9 years old, I was 8 years old, my mother and father brought me here illegally. I am illegal. What do you say to them? What do you say to that situation? The dreamers, quote unquote.
Well, you got to look at it two ways. The family that brought them there, they broke the law. They definitely broke the law. And first of all, you know, they bringing them here, it depends on the age that they brought them to also. Because those kids are already here and they've already adapted to our society and the laws in our society. But at the same time, we can't automatically just hand them amnesty and say, hey, you're automatically a U.S. citizen, you can vote in the system, in the process. This is where the problem lies. It's not that we're going to send them back, it's that we have to know that they're there, know that they exist. But the parents, we do have to go after them because they broke the law.
Okay.
They broke the law. And if they broke the law and they came here through the wrong process, they knew knowingly that they were going to break the law coming here.
Yeah.
So we cannot just hand out amnesty to everybody. We can't.
Okay.
We can't. I'm sorry, we can't.
So
Can't. Our country is bleeding right now, and it's been bleeding for a long time. A lot of people who come here illegally also because they don't have the financial means.
So let's get a clear answer on this. What is your status on those dreamers? What would you do?
So
we're talking about young illegals.
I wouldn't hand them automatic amnesty. I would think that, you know, for me, they have to earn their citizenship here in this country.
Okay.
And they wouldn't automatically be citizens. I would propose.
What's your criteria?
What I would propose is after a certain age, and as soon as they start working, that we know that they exist, that they're here, that they would have to work in the United States for 10 years before they are able to obtain citizenship within the country.
So you would grant them legal status?
I wouldn't grant them. I would grant them legal status to a certain extent.
Okay.
They can't vote or anything. They have to be here in this country.
Okay.
They have to be here in this country. They also have to have classes where they have to learn the Constitution. They have to learn what this country is about too.
Okay.
Because, you know, the understanding already. The problem is the family already came here illegally. They broke the law. I'm talking about the families. We have to send them back through a line, and they have to come back through a line.
Okay.
The kids, they have a choice. They can go back with the family, or if they're of age, they can stay here because they've already been in the country for a long time. But they don't have the right to vote.
Okay.
They cannot have the right to vote because automatically, if the family didn't learn the Constitution while coming here and they didn't pay all the fees and all the costs that came along with it, they didn't teach their kids those values of the Constitution.
Fair enough. And let me ask about another group that's now becoming a popular point of contention. We illegals have ended up serving in the military in this country, and so they're veterans. Or the argument is that they're veterans, and then some of the congressmen are now saying these veterans have been deported and they want to grant them citizenship. What's your take on that situation?
No, I don't think that's the case. We shouldn't be granting automatic citizenship if they're going to serve. You know, to be in the service it's an amazing thing to do, to serve your country, and it should be granted to only legal citizens.
Okay.
You can't just let anybody just step in and serve in our country. You have to know the Constitution. You have to know what the country is about. And it's a privilege also to serve in our military.
Yeah,
I have a cousin who's served in the military for over 5 years now.
Okay.
And she's been overseas, and I'm very proud of her that she's been doing it. I'm going to visit her. I'm going to Florida, and I'm going to see her. So I'm very happy to visit my family that lives in Florida, and I'm proud to see Americans who stand up for our country, who fight for our freedoms, who respect our Second Amendment, because that's essential in our country.
Got it. We've hit the immigration issue. I treat that as the generically most contentious, most important issue for many districts. So having put that aside, back to the district itself, what would you say are the three biggest issues affecting the constituents in the 43rd?
For me, what I've seen myself is poverty, misuse of funds, and business climate.
Okay, misuse of funds, what do you mean?
Misuse of funds meaning that they spend money on things that are not necessary.
Who though?
Like the government. Let's go back to welfare.
Okay.
The welfare system has been misappropriated. It hasn't been utilized in a way. Like, let's say you go to the welfare office, and I'm going to soon do a live stream in the welfare office. When you go to the welfare office, you see a lot of people driving Mercedes, BMWs, and all these nice, beautiful cars.
Are you serious?
So you're a welfare recipient.
Welfare fraud, it sounds like to me.
To me, that's welfare fraud. And so we have to crack down on welfare fraud. People complain, well, we don't have the money for the wall. Well, if we crack down on all the welfare fraud, that's where we're going to get the money.
And so that's you just pretty much affirmed it. You want that wall built along our border.
The wall has to be built. Not only that, tunnels have to be built too.
Okay.
So they don't go under that wall.
I don't want to go down that pathway. I should probably bring that back. I'll bring it back in a bit. So you see poverty, misuse of federal funds, and what was the third
Business.
issue? Okay, so what's the issues with the business climate?
Yeah, with the business climate, like, Toyota and Torrance just recently announced that they were leaving to Olean, Texas. And for me, that's a concern, when businesses are leaving the state of California, and they're leaving the state of California because politicians are making it impossible for them to do business here. It's sad. I mean, and then people complain, oh, I can't find a job. I can't do this. I'm homeless. I'm going in the street now. They're in that situation because they're supporting people who are putting them in poverty. That's what Democrats do. Democrats put people in poverty.
Wow.
They're not for business. They're not for jobs.
Okay.
They're against jobs.
All right.
I'm here to fight for jobs. I'm here to fight for business.
So let me take those three issues. Okay, poverty. How do you want to solve the poverty problem?
Well, you address the poverty problem by creating jobs in the district, by bringing good business.
Okay, and back to welfare fraud. We'll call it misuse of federal funds. How do you want to crack down on that?
Oh yeah. One of the ways to crack down on welfare fraud is to basically push. We have to push for. We have to audit them. We have to check what they're doing. What are the recipients? What are the people that are taking the money? Who are they? Who are these people? I mean, we have illegals that can be taking welfare too.
That's a problem.
That's
I'd have to
that's
agree.
a good problem.
Okay, so there's that.
And and then we have to also crack down on people who have side jobs that are getting cash on hand. They're getting cash, but they're not really they're not filing taxes. Also, that's a problem too. That's why you have those people driving those Mercedes.
Okay.
How can they afford a Mercedes? I mean, they have to have some cash business.
Wow.
So how are we cracking down on that? We're not doing anything. So we have to have people. We have to hire people to investigate. We have to have an investigative team to crack down on welfare fraud.
Okay, got it. And we go to the business. What federal policies would you start enacting to deal with improving the business climate?
One thing that I would like to do is make sure that we're cutting down a lot of red tape. There's red tape in our district. There are policies like environmental policies that are enacted against business, and one of the things that I would like to work for is to fight against crazy environmental policies that are just hurting business in our state. Like
let me take an aside on that.
Refinery.
There's a bill that's been introduced. It would basically eliminate the Environmental Protection Agency. Would you support that bill?
Yeah, of course I would support it.
Okay, so that's an example. Yeah. Continue with what else you'd want to do to help the business climate.
For me, it's that we have to cut red tape. We have to cut red tape. There's so much red tape in our country that's crippling business, and especially in the state of California, in the 43rd Congressional District. I mean, businesses are fleeing. They're fleeing the state. They're going. Not only that, they're even going overseas because they cannot afford to do business here. We have to push for business. We have to push for it. And the president we have now is pushing for business. He is fighting for our country. We have to put America first.
Well, wait a second. Do you have any business experience though? Because that's okay.
Yeah, so my background.
Tell us about that then.
So my background, I worked I used to work for the Los Angeles District Attorney's Office.
Oh, really?
I assisted victims of crimes.
Okay.
And that's the first hand where I got in government, and I said to myself, like, I want to do something. I want to make a difference. But when I got involved, I got so passionate about the issues, and with victims of crimes, for me, I was very passionate about it, but I didn't see myself. I wanted to be involved in changing things and actually enacting, changing policy. So I said to myself, look, I'm going to get in politics. I got in politics, but at the same time, I was working. I worked for a company in Samsung. And I was working for Samsung for a while. My job was basically to go run around to different Best Buys and train people on Samsung products.
Okay.
So that was the first, and it was a corporate job, and it was really fun to do that. I mean, I enjoyed it. I was young. I was only 22 years of age. I was like 24 for 2 years, and then I went to work for Sony because Sony asked me to come back to work for them because I was working for PlayStation. And
so you were a marketer, a trainer with the technology
industry, and then I at the same time I had a business. I was doing online marketing.
So so what is your business? Tell us more about that.
So my business is Omar Navarro Consulting.
Okay.
And what I do is basically I market other businesses, and I market nonprofits also, and I market political campaigns. That's how I started with political campaigns. I was working different campaigns. I did it for John McCain when he ran. I was a very young age when I first started doing marketing. Okay. I'm not a fan of John McCain, to be honest with you. Okay. And I'm not a fan of a lot of people that I supported, so that's why I'm here today, and I'm running because...
So you will run because if you didn't like what you saw, but rather than just complain about it, you said, I'll jump in and run.
It was not more than just jumping in and run. I said, I'm going to jump in and I'm running because I have integrity. I have a backbone to myself. I'm not a coward. And I go out and do. I just don't sit around. I don't let things happen. I don't let life get by me. I take action. I work really hard. I work very hard for what I do.
Are you still doing your business and this at the same time?
No, not right now.
Okay, so you're just committed to the campaign.
Yeah, I'm committed to the campaign 100%. I devoted all my time into this campaign because I said to myself, if I, like last time I was operating the business at the same time I was doing the campaign.
Oh, okay, so that's another thing that's changed.
So I said to myself, I diverted myself and I said, I'm going to put in 100% of myself into this campaign. I save money, you know, like I don't, we're fine, and we're fine because it's just a matter of what you do. It's just being responsible. If you're responsible, then you're going to be financially free. You're going to be fine to do the things that you want to do in your life. And that's how I can serve in the traffic commission in Torrance, and I have the time to do that. Okay. Not a lot of young people have the time to do the things they want to do.
Let's go back. Well, let's go. We'll revisit your government experience because I want to do that. So what I'm going to do, we're going to change it up, then we're going to go back to that. So we talked about immigration. You talked about the top 3 policies or issues you're concerned about in your district. What I want to do now is kind of, we could call it speed round kind of, but I'm not going to demand like a one-word answer because that's a little unfair. So we talked about immigration, another contentious issue, and it's being debated right now in Washington, Obamacare. What's your take on Obamacare?
Well, we got to repeal Obamacare.
Okay.
That's a major problem in our country right now. And, you know, we have a lot of problems. We have a lot of problems, and Obamacare was a major disaster in our country.
What's wrong with it?
Well, the problem that's wrong with it, premiums are going up for a lot of people, and that's one of the biggest concerns. And it hit a lot of people. I saw premiums go from $800 to $1,400, and it's crazy. It's crazy. Everybody's getting hit, and not only that, people that don't need health care have health care. It doesn't make any sense to me. It just doesn't make any sense to me.
You mean they don't have health insurance,
people
but
that
they don't?
People that have, all right, people that have health insurance, people don't need health insurance, have health insurance. There are people who are physically healthy, young people, who don't go to the doctor as much, who don't need those programs. But there are people who are older who need those programs. What about them? You know, like, so what I'm looking at is, we don't need to be handing out health care to everybody. We can't, and the government can't be in charge of that. We have to give that to the free markets. We have to let them decide that. Okay. And the prices also.
So let's put it this way: Obamacare, repeal entirely, repeal in part.
Entirely.
Okay, the whole thing.
The whole thing. We cannot. We got to get rid of it.
Okay.
We cannot have Obamacare in this country. We got to have.
I'm going to take
let the private process take over.
Putting this in your place, we're going to go into legislative niceties really clearly. Okay, so we had the American Health Care Act. Would you have voted for it or against it? What had passed out of the House about a month ago? Would you have voted for it or against it?
You know, for me, I would have supported whatever Congress. For me, it's like I would work with everybody that's in Congress, and I would have supported in the sense that I have to work with whoever's in government right now. I have to work with them, and I want to work with the administration. And if that's what the president wanted, I would work with the president, and I would make sure I would do everything possible to get whatever the president needs to get done. We have to work with the administration. We have to work with the president. That's the only way we're going to fix our country. We have to fix our country and the issues in our country. I'm so tired of seeing people.
So that's with Obamacare.
On TV.
Okay.
I'm so tired of seeing people complain on TV constantly.
Okay,
offending
but let's go back to Obamacare. We see that plainly. You want to work with the president. You haven't told me to take off my hat, so that helps a great deal. Yes, we're making America great again. Rand Paul said, you know, if a bill replaces or repeals 80 to 90% of it, you'll support that too?
Yeah, of course I would.
That's fine. So you're demonstrating that you're a team player, that you're not going to completely wreck a proposal if it's not in 100%
If that's what the president wants at the time, I will support it. But if there's another way to change everybody else's mind and get them on board, I'm all for it.
Good. Obamacare was a big chunk. I get it. So let's take some other issues. Second Amendment, where's your stance on that?
Man, I support the Second Amendment because the Second Amendment protects us and it protects our individual freedoms. I had a friend who was recently stabbed 9 times, and it's really saddening to see that, you know. And if he had a gun at the time, he could have protected himself. And we didn't have that problem today. Okay,
so how do we deal with issues like what happened in Aurora, Colorado? The guy had passed the background checks, he got the firearm, and then he let loose in that movie theater. How do we deal with a problem like that, though?
Well, we also have to check people's mental stability too. Okay. But at the same time, the government also will try to define who's mentally fit and who isn't.
That's a problem, isn't it?
That's also a concern too, because then you have the government also impeding on the Second Amendment too, and our Second Amendment's right. So
that's a good point you've brought up, that, you know, mental illness as a criteria can be too wide and make it easier to infringe.
I think it has to be defined.
Okay.
Mental illness has to be defined, and it has to be defined by experts, because I'm not an expert.
Okay.
But,
so for you, the issue isn't limiting who can have a firearm, but in the sense of just generically a ban or a gun control proposal, but ensuring that as people are signing up or seeking a firearm, that there are criteria in place to ensure that someone who isn't mentally
someone like, and like for me, it's like more like if someone has suicidal tendencies, why are we going to give them a firearm?
Okay.
Because they can just take the firearm and off themselves. If they also have tendencies of committing homicide and killing people, then we have to assess that too.
I hope not. We're not going to make sure they get a firearm.
So I think that
sure.
In layman's terms, it's simple: suicide and homicide. We have to watch out for those tendencies too.
That's fine. So I'll give you two legislative proposals that occurred. Get your response from it. First one, 2013, there was a desire to expand background checks. That's a bill that actually failed in the U.S. Senate 2013. Whatever you know about it, or little as much, would you have voted for it?
Well, can you walk me through the details also on the bill?
You know, the attitude people had was that they needed to deal with like private gun sales between family members, for example. They felt that had to be subject to background checks, for example. Would you have supported something like that?
You know, no, I wouldn't have supported something like that.
This is a good exercise. Anybody who's watching this wants to know where you stand. You know, because with Maxine Waters, it doesn't seem like she stands for anything, like you said, but impeach, impeach, impeach. That's not a policy. That's not leadership. The other thing, there is a bill. You know, I'm a legislative wonk of sorts. It's constitutional carry. So it means that if I'm licensed to have a firearm in Utah, then every other state must recognize my right to have a concealed weapon.
Yeah.
Do you support that?
Yeah.
You support that?
Of course I support that.
And there's the only challenge is that do you feel that it erodes federalism, the state sovereignty?
No, it doesn't. Because people's rights under the Constitution, they're guaranteed the Second Amendment.
Okay.
So, I mean, we got to look
so
at
states got to deal with it.
Yeah, we got to deal with it because it's the Constitution at the end of the day.
Okay, so we got that. So let me get into the cultural issues. Pro-choice, pro-life.
I'm pro-life.
Okay. Do you recognize exceptions of any kind?
Rape and incest.
Okay, so got it. Okay, fair enough. Gay marriage is becoming a contentious issue again. Where's your stance on that?
You know, my stance on gay marriage, I don't support the word gay marriage. I don't agree with it because marriage is between a man and a woman.
Okay.
But I do believe that if we believe in the Constitution, that government shouldn't be involved in marriage. I personally believe government shouldn't be involved in marriage. They should never called it marriage in the first place. If people want to be together, even though I don't agree with it, they should be able to be together, but under a different name, not marriage. It should be called a domestic partnership.
Okay.
We should get rid of marriage entirely out of government. We've got to get rid of marriage out of government because marriage is a sacred thing.
Okay.
For me as a Christian, it's sacred.
Okay.
So if I want to get married and I want to go to my church and get married, then I go to my church and get married, and I consider it marriage at that point. But government should never consider it marriage. They should consider it a domestic partnership.
Okay, so just phase that out entirely.
We got to respect religion also.
As the government, so the idea would be that restore it as a private contract.
Exactly.
Okay.
And we cannot impede on that private contract also.
Okay.
Because if let's say someone who is gay says, I want to have a gay marriage, and the church says no, then they go around and sue them. Mm-hmm. Well, no, because that's not what they believe in. They have the freedom of believing what they believe in. We cannot force them to believe what you believe in.
Right.
Because then that's communism.
Okay, like imposing a belief on somebody.
Imposing a belief on somebody. We got to respect that. At the end of the day, we got to respect people's religious views too.
All right. Another issue: climate change. Sometimes it's called global warming. Do you believe in climate change?
No, I don't. No. I just believe that the Earth has gotten naturally warmer, and that's just how it is. It has nothing to do with all this mumbo jumbo that liberals create. It's just this whole false narrative that they've created to divert people from real issues. Mm-hmm.
Okay. One more, assisted suicide. I think that's another issue of contention. It deals with state power, protection of life. What's your take on assisted suicide? Because that's starting to gain traction. It passed here in the state of California, even with Republican votes.
Really?
Oh, yeah. What's your take on assisted suicide?
Well, can you walk me through the bill, Martha?
Well, just the concept in general is doctors have been, they take an oath, first do no harm. And what's happened is many states have even gone so far as we want to protect life as much as possible. We don't want doctors to be in a position where they can administer a fatal dose or a fatal procedure to end a patient's life if they want to be killed. Patients are not allowed to seek that kind of a end-of-life palliative care. And what states are now doing is that states are enacting laws which allow doctors to administer those end-of-life procedures, if you will, or allowing individuals to engage in those behaviors within a medical setting. And people who are opposed to that say, well, life is precious at every level. We shouldn't allow this to happen. And those who believe that assisted suicide should be permissive, they see it as a liberty issue. As a libertarian, individuals should have the freedom of choice to do with their bodies, even if it means ending their lives. So what's your take on assisted suicide?
You know, my take on it is that, yeah, the government shouldn't be administrating someone's death or whether someone lives or dies.
Okay.
People should have that choice themselves as an individual.
So, you know, now I can go specifically, if this helps, you know, I can't remember that was the number, but okay, you've given the answer, so you would support allowing assisted suicide?
Yes.
Okay, got it. So that settles that there. We talked about the issue with climate change, or that seems to be the contentious issue right there. Foreign policy, you are going to be a federal official as an elected official, so what's your, okay, let's take something simple. The embassy in Israel, do you want to see it move to Jerusalem?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And why do you think the president's delaying the move? Because he promised that he would get it there. He would take it from Tel Aviv. Why do you think he's delaying it?
You know, you got to look at it. The president's the president. He's got a lot to do. He's got a lot of work to do. I mean, he's not only doing. He's worried about different issues in our country. He's worried about bringing business. He's worried about making sure that other countries are not killing us. Mm-hmm. So he's taking care of a lot of issues right now that we have to address. So and not only that, he's only one man. We got to also think about it too. He's not a god. He's one man. He's one man. Mm-hmm. So I believe that the president eventually is going to address it. I think the president is going to go back on that issue, and he's going to look at it, and we're going to make sure we're going to have an embassy. Okay.
Some people, some people think that it's just like a form of backpedaling. Some people, this can tie into, well, why don't we switch it to this instead? Israel itself is a contentious concern, especially when you've got the Palestinian territories. Do you support only one state, a two-state solution? How this Arab-Israeli conflict? How do you see it coming to an end?
I support Israel in the sense because Israel is one of our last beacons of hope in the Middle East.
Okay.
We gain information. We have to work with them too. We have to have relationships with people in other countries also, but we also have to worry about our country and putting our country first. So for me, that's a concern also, but we have to sustain relationships also with other governments.
Well, what do you think that there should be a Palestinian state, or do you think that, or do you support? Well, it's not necessarily in conflict, but there are more Jewish settlements emerging in the West Bank. Do you think those should be halted, scaled back, or should they be allowed to continue? Because that is one of the key conflicts in the region.
Well, you know, I think personally that there are a lot of conflicts that are going on and that are going to continue to go on. Those conflicts, we're not going to change them overnight. Mm-hmm. So my belief is to go back, and we also have to think about what we're doing here in our country.
Okay.
We have to focus on infrastructure. Because there are a lot of issues in other countries that are going on, but we have to look back at us. If we're not looking back at us, then what are we doing? We're not doing anything if we're not going to do that first.
I'll try one more time.
Yeah.
When it comes to the settlements that Israel is advancing into the West Bank, do you support them? Should they continue? Should they stop? Or should they be scaled back?
I think they should be scaled back.
Okay. So you do support a two-state solution. Palestine should have its own state. Mm-hmm. Okay, got it. North Korea, it's getting in the news again. Do you like what the president's doing? Do you think he should try something different? Go forward? Go backward? What do you think?
Well, North Korea is a continuing issue in our country. I mean, North Korea keeps testing our waters, and you know, we for so long we can no longer let North Korea walk on us. It's going to get to a point where we can't let them walk on us. I mean, to the point right now is eventually we're going to have to take action. We can't just sit back and enjoy the show.
Okay, so just to give you previous reports have shown that there's been a military buildup around North Korea. Do you think that the president should use some kind of military action, bomb North Korea? Do you think we should just maintain a strength? Go ahead.
I don't think right now, automatically, right now in this second, but if North Korea does something that is going to affect our country, we have to step in. We have to do something.
That's
but
fine.
If it's affecting our country, we can't just go in out of nowhere and take them out. We got to do something first. We got to make sure that if they're going to do something, we're going to be there, and we're going to make sure they don't do it.
Okay, so I mean, I'm getting a general sense here. A foreign policy in this country, it's acceptable. You know, military action is acceptable as long as we're seeing that it directly benefits the country, the United States.
Yeah.
So, departure point from there, Donald Trump bombed an airfield in Syria. And some people thought, that's an overreach. He needs to ask Congress for approval. What's your take on that?
At the time that he did with Syria, I didn't agree with it.
Really? Okay.
I wasn't in favor of Syria because I felt like there was more information that we needed to know in order to do something like that.
Okay.
I mean, but then again, you also have to look at the president. Was there a reason behind it? Was there any reasoning behind it? I still don't know what the reasoning behind it was, but I would like to know more reasons why he went through it with what he did.
Okay.
Because I think we need to focus on more our efforts here. If it directly impacted what we were doing here in our country, then yeah, of course.
Fair enough. I think of another very belligerent, threatening actor in the Middle East in that region, Iran. What's your take on the Iran deal?
Yeah, well, Iran is a big threat.
Okay.
They're a big threat, and we have to assess that because they are a problem. And eventually, we are going to go in conflict with Iran in a big way.
You really think so?
I think so. I personally think so because Iran is a vicious country. And my stepfather is actually from Iran.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So that's your wife's father. Is that correct?
My mom's a husband.
Okay, got it.
So my mom remarried, and her husband's from Iran.
Okay.
And, he would always share with me stories on how Iran is a very dangerous country, and how Muslims destroyed it, and how they took over it, and why he left. He left because he was tired of seeing how Islam destroyed it, and that's why he came to this country. He came here because he wanted the freedom to not express any form of religion. Because his father was Jewish.
Really?
He was a writer in Iran, and they were being persecuted and for their beliefs, and that's the amazing part about this country, that people can believe in Christianity.
Good.
You can be Jewish, and you're not being persecuted for what you believe in.
Absolutely.
But at the same time, we also have to assess threats too. There are religions that are out there like Islam. They're a threat to our civilization. They're a threat to other religions.
I'm glad you bring that up.
To our freedom.
I know you were at the anti-Sharia rally in San Bernardino. So do you feel, so how do you want to, Sharia law, you're opposed to it,
Of
for
course
it?
I am.
Okay.
I'm opposed to Sharia law.
Really quickly tell the audience
we
why.
cannot have Sharia law imposed in our country.
Why?
Why? Because it's a way of life. And a way of life is not a religion. It's a cult. And I firmly believe that in a big way. They're practicing to deceive people. They're practicing to kill people. This is not what we do. No.
Okay, so
in the name of religion.
This is a conflict that I see. How do you resolve this issue? Okay, so there are people who say Sharia is part of Islam, and there's the First Amendment, right? Mm-hmm. So how you want to ban Sharia?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, how do you make the case for doing that, even though it seems that it's in conflict with the First Amendment?
Well, freedom of speech. There are things that are protected under freedom of speech.
Okay.
An act of violence is not protected under freedom of speech.
Okay.
And in itself, Sharia law promotes violence.
Okay, got it. Okay, so that's the argument, because you.
That's the argument.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe you do have Muslims who are constituents in your district
Yes,
too.
I do.
So.
If there are Muslims who believe in Sharia law, who adopt Sharia law to their life, then that's a problem.
Okay, going on that pathway really quickly, have you talked to those potential constituents, and they know your views on this?
I went to the CARE meeting.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Okay.
A year ago, I went to it. I was not, in favor and everything, but I just showed up. I went to the CARE meeting. I just wanted to see from first-hand experience from how everything was in a mosque and everything.
Okay.
So I went inside, and my wife on one side, I was on one side.
Oh my
She
God!
had to
Did she have to put a veil on?
Yeah, she had to put a veil on.
Okay.
They had a section for the females, section for the males.
Okay.
The females could not say anything. They had to stay quiet. The males are the only ones that can talk in the mosque.
Okay.
So it's very, very male-dominated. Females have no sense in there. Not only that, my wife went to shake one of the imam's hands, and he would not shake her hand. He says, I don't shake your hand. I can't shake your hand.
Wow. Okay.
So, and not only that, after we went to eat, men eat on one side, women eat on the other side.
Oh, wow.
So, when people express women's rights, where are the women's rights in Islam?
Okay.
There are no women's rights.
Okay. You mentioned, okay. So, yeah, that's, Would you say Islam itself is a problem, or is it radical Islam?
Radical Islam is a problem, but also people that believe in Sharia law and adopting Sharia law, that is a problem in itself also.
And I must throw this in, Maxine Waters, what is her relationship with Islam, Sharia?
Well, I believe that Maxine Waters is in bed with the Muslims.
Okay.
Especially, she supports Sharia law. She wants to adopt Sharia law in our country. She wants to work towards adopting it here. I say no to that. I say we're not going to have that here.
Wow.
Not going to happen under my watch. It's not going to happen under my watch.
That's a big issue.
It's not going to happen under my watch.
You know, it's becoming a more, you know, that First Amendment borderline, you know, at what point do we start drawing the line? That's a real tough issue, and it's a federal issue.
I draw the line there. It's a serious issue. Very serious.
Okay. Let me switch from that. So, as you know, the travel ban was reinstated by the Supreme Court. There will be a full hearing in October.
I was very happy to hear that.
Okay.
Very happy. We have to vet. We have to vet people who are coming into the country.
Okay.
We got to make sure they're not radicals coming in here committing crimes. I think a lot of people don't realize is that you have a lot of people who come when you know. I'm not sure if you saw this, but I saw in the Department of Homeland Security, and I was looking at briefs and stuff like that. I saw that there are no terrorist groups that operate over in Mexico.
Oh, wow.
And they're being protected by cartels.
No
They're
kidding.
being protected by cartels.
Wow.
And the cartels are getting greased by these.
Another reason we need to build that wall.
Exactly. It's not just to protect us against illegal immigrants. It's to protect ourselves against terrorists that can come into our country.
Wow.
That's why we need to vet people.
Okay.
We need to vet people because we need to protect ourselves.
Absolutely.
If you want to protect your families and you don't want your families to die, I would definitely be for protecting our border.
Okay, absolutely.
And vetting people. We have to vet.
I have to tell you have outlined some very clear-cut, you know, conservative positions. But the registration is 19% Republican, I believe, in your district.
Yeah.
How are you going to appeal to independents and Democrats, especially in the wake of the fact that previous elections have shown Waters winning 70 to 80% of the vote?
Let's go back to that. In the district, we're working hard right now also. There's another thing, besides addressing the voter rolls in the district, we're also addressing, we have to register voters.
Okay.
So we have a plan right now. We want to register 50,000 new voters in the district, Republicans.
Okay.
So our goal is to bring up the registration, and that's how the winning plan is addressing the illegal voters and addressing getting new voters.
Okay, but here's the thing: you still have a lot of legal voters. How are you going to convince Democrats to say, you know, I've voted for Maxine Waters for 20 years,
This is what I asked
17 years, 16 years?
If
How do you get them to vote for you?
If I go to Inglewood, if I go to Hawthorne,
Okay.
I tell them, are you happy with the trash that's all over your community? Are you happy with the gangbangers that are in your parks? Are you happy with the situation you're living? Are you happy that your property values are not as high as it should be?
Okay.
Are you happy about these things?
Okay.
And you have to go after issues that matter most to them in their communities.
But how is that Maxine Waters' fault, and what do you propose to fix that?
Yeah, you know, it's her fault because she's been in office for 27 years. 27 years, not accounting for her being in the state assembly for 8 years, so more than 35 years.
Okay.
So if someone's been in for 35 years in public service, and you don't see the community getting better on a business level, because businesses are not inclined to fix their business. They're not inclined, if a community is so broken, they're uninclined to even fix their business, to even like fix their, I'm not sure if you've seen in some in the district, you'll see business owners that don't even fix their parking lots. They're totally destroyed. They don't even do anything. They don't even do repairs in their own business. I saw it in Hawthorne. I went to the Hometown Buffet on Hawthorne Boulevard in Hawthorne, and across from the old mall that used to exist there. I saw that that mall's been closed for over 14 years. No one has done anything with it. Why isn't there a proposal? Now there's a police department. It was shut down because of the gangbangers. Now there's a police department across from there. Why aren't they doing anything possible to open that mall up and get someone to open it up, bring business there, and that way the citizens there have things to do. Not only do they have things to do, they have a business and create jobs. It just brings a better community. It's good for tax growth also for that community.
Okay, but we're going back to how you feel that this is a message of 27 years of Waters has given you nothing.
Nothing.
So they're saying, give me a chance. You're saying, give me a shot.
All I say is, this is what I say. I say, Maxine Waters here, Omar Navarro is here.
Okay.
I'm here to work for the people. Maxine Waters hasn't been working for the people.
Okay, got it. Don't you think, though, that your strong attachment and support for the president isn't that going to hurt
No,
your?
no.
Okay.
No. And I'll tell you why. Because the last time I ran, if you look at in my race, the last time I ran, and you look at every precinct that I was running in, if you look at my votes, I got two times or three times more votes than Trump did.
Okay. Really?
Look it on a voter on an LA vote. You look it up on there.
Really? Okay.
Votes
So you exceed the president.
So I exceeded the president also, and with the same message.
Okay.
Same message. My message was the same, and I didn't change my message around. It's just a matter of who delivers the message. So it's just a matter of changing the perception of people, and you have to have conversations with people. See, I'm here. The president obviously wasn't here, but if you're here and you're changing that message, you're getting that message out there. People want to have a relationship with their representatives.
Yes.
They do. And one of the things, by having a relationship with people, you have to show up. You have to be there. You have to have that's engagement we need to have.
Okay.
Like, I'm having some rallies coming up in Lomita, the district. I'm gonna have another one at the Palos Verdes Bowl. Because I'm fighting for family. That's my whole goal, is to fight for every family in the district.
Okay.
I want to fight for families that have lost kids to illegal aliens. I want to fight for family that has lost family to gangbangers. I want to fight for family that that's tired of seeing their communities being run down. I'm tired. That's what I'm fighting for. I'm fighting for a family in the district. I'm fighting for every family.
Would you? We've got a lot of reports are suggesting that anti-Maxine has found a new way to connect with young voters.
That's not true. That's not true.
Okay.
Tell
me about that.
That is a hoax.
Because you're telling me that you're relying on a growing wellspring of young voters helping you.
No, but this is not true. Because if you look at the majority of my volunteers and all the interns that are helping my campaign, I had 90% of them are all millennials. So when she says that she has the millennial support, it's not true. Why is there a millennial also running against her? Because I'm a millennial also, if you classify me as a millennial.
Okay, got it.
I mean, that's the question. Millennials challenging her. 90% of my volunteers are millennials.
Okay.
I don't see the support she has for millennials. I don't see that.
Okay. Got it.
I mean, mines are taking action.
All right.
They're working hard.
Sounds good. So, just really quickly, tell us, just wrap us up. Tell us a little about yourself, your family, and
I'm very proud to come from a single mother. My mom got divorced at a very young age. I was 7 years old. My mom separated from my father, and my mom worked very hard in her life to provide for me and my sister.
Okay.
I live with also my grandparents.
Oh, you have a sister. Okay.
Yeah, I have an older sister.
All right.
I lived with my grandparents for 4 years of my life, and my parents were through a divorce process. They didn't want to put us through a hardship. I lived with my grandparents who were Cuban, and I learned a lot from them about politics, and they're the ones that really got me engaged in the political process.
Right.
They taught me a lot about communism. They taught me a lot about getting involved in the political process and making a difference in your own community. They always said, if you want to actually change things, you have to take action. And if you're not taking action, then you're not doing anything in our country. You have to get involved in civics. And that's what we got to instill in young kids. I mean, I think, I believe in myself as a young person that I can encourage a lot of young people to get involved.
Absolutely.
To make a difference. And I've been seeing that in my campaign. A lot of young people are getting involved. I've even get messages.
Tell us about your wife.
Yeah, my wife, Tori, we got married 3 years ago. We just had our anniversary in May 2nd.
Congratulations.
That was exciting. My wife is a great person. She's very supportive of what I do, and she's you know her, Arthur. She's very phenomenal. She's supportive, and she comes to everything. Sometimes you have wives that step out from the side and they're not together and they're not involved in what you're doing. But she's involved. She really cares about what I do, and this big support system that I have there is important to have. That. And I'm very proud to have someone who really cares about what I'm doing and cares that I'm making a difference in the community.
Wonderful.
We need to have people like that.
We're about to wrap up. So anything else that you want to tell?
Yeah.
You want to share with the audience that I didn't ask about? Now's your chance, real quick.
So everybody, if you guys want to help drain the swamp in the state of California in the 43rd Congressional District, donate to my campaign. Go to my website at omarnavarro.com/donate. omarnavarro.com/donate. If you guys want to follow me on Facebook, if you're not following me already, go to Press GOP, follow me on there. Twitter, Press GOP also is on my Twitter handle. On YouTube, it's also my handles, Press GOP. Go on there, look at my stuff, look at my content. I don't want anybody to vote for me if they don't know what I stand for. Go to my pledge on my website, read my stuff. If you have any questions, any questions, send them to my campaign and contact us. Ask me whatever you guys want to ask. If you feel like something's unanswered here, and you say, hey, I want this added on the website, I'll add it on the website. I'll be happy to. And if there's anything missing on there, I'll be happy to add it. Just let me know, contact me, please do that. Go to omarnavarro.com and contact me there.
Awesome. Well, thanks for doing this, Omar.
Thank you,
I really appreciate it. I know you've got a really busy schedule, but you took time to be here. So let me just wrap up for the audience. So we've got the real deal right here. Omar Navarro, he lives in the district. That alone should make you attuned to voting for this guy, because Maxine Waters, she lives at Ritzy Snitsy up there in Hancock Park. That's the first thing. Omar Navarro is raising money. He's got a grassroots organization that gets bigger by the day. He's got teams of supporters all over Southern California. They were there at the last Maxine Waters town hall where they booed her into oblivion as she fled from her own town hall. That has not happened in her 27-year career. He's got momentum, he's got drive, he just needs money. Make sure that you donate. Again, my name is Arthur Schaper. I'm here for vesselnews.io. You can also follow me on Twitter at Arthur C. Schaper, S-C-H-A-P-E-R. You can also follow my blog, State of the Union, ashopper1.blogspot.com. Thank you again for tuning in. Please make sure to share this video. Make sure to like his Facebook page, follow him on Twitter, and let's help him make California great again and make America great again.
God bless.
Thank you for watching.